images, how to extract features from an images, and how to make use them for classification. So how can we extract the features from image, and how can we deploy it in machine learning models? This is special because we have been receiving a lot of comments on that in previous short-term training programs, and many participants have requested to conduct this session. That's why we are conducting it. So to conduct this technical session, we have with us Dr. Tapas Badal. Dr. Tapas Badal is PhD in Computer Science and Engineering from MNIT Jaipur. He has completed his BE and MTech also. He has been working as an assistant professor in Bennett University, Noida, and he has rich experience of around 10 years of teaching. And his research areas include analysis in surveillance videos, image processing, and pattern recognition, AI, and machine learning. So I welcome Tapas Badal sir to conduct this session. Over to you, Tapas sir.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Deepak. It's a pleasure to address such a nice audience. And okay, so that you have already mentioned, like this topic is very important, and this topic has been asked by the people. So, and good thing is this, you have all the participants has already covered the basics of the image processing and artificial neural network and convolutional neural network, right? So that is very important. Whenever I have seen a lot of people who have done research in image processing and all, and that thing that I have found, the many of the people are lacking the basics of the image processing, and they start applying those things over the neural network and all those things. So that is very important to have the prior knowledge of the image processing, its components, like the morphological analysis, how the image behave, and what are the actual thing that we should address while doing the image processing. Okay, so I don't know, like I have one or two slides about the convolution, but I have not go through the thorough process of like how the convolution CNN works, right? And because that's a 1.5 hour of session, and it's not possible to cover all the things, but I will try to cover some of the advanced topic that will address like how convolution neural network can be useful for feature extraction in image as well as in data. So basically we will be covering some of the basic features, like advanced features of the convolution neural network, how we can visualize the features that CNN has learned, and that has been treated as a black box earlier. People say neural network intermediate layers are learned by themselves. Yes, obviously, but what they have learned, what they are targeting. Okay, so there are a lot of concepts related to individual applications that I'm going to discuss in this session. Okay, so basically when we see the image processing, then the feature extraction was considered as a handcrafted features that the expert, okay, sorry. So that we consider the features that has been extracted was handcrafted by the experts of those faculties. So you have gone through some of the machine learning algorithms, so some of the machine learning classification algorithms. So in those algorithms, people first extract the features that we can say like handcrafted features, and then pass it for the classification algorithm. Okay, maybe for the SVM or any random forest. Okay, but in the deep learning, that process has been automated. Okay, we pass the input image, and it is the task or the duty of the model to extract the feature. Okay, so that we can say to learn the weights according to the different training data. So that process has been automated in deep learning. Okay, so then all the things like feature extraction, and then later on, like we have the dense layer, and we apply the softmax or any activation function that can be used for the classification. So basically, the deep learning automate the whole process. It extract the optimal features that is required for the particular classification task. Okay, so why we consider these features are important? So actually, the machine learning or deep learning model, basically machine learning, as per the we'll see, is basically the feature extraction task. How much important or how much like good features you have extracted, the whole output will be depend upon that only. Okay, so earlier it was considered as how much expertise of the field you have, what pre-processing task or what feature extraction task you are applying, the whole output was depend upon that thing. Okay, so the real quality of this machine learning and deep learning comes from the extensive feature engineering, how extensive features you have extracted, and then you apply the modeling technique over those features. Okay, so we can say that the features are the universal driver or the critical component of any data modeling project. Okay, so the task of feature engineering, or we can say the feature extraction, is try to extract the maximum possible data, or as maximum possible information that is present into the data. Okay, so when we talk about the images, then we can say like these features are the pattern, or in any data related task as well. Like CNN, we can apply if the data can be converted into that suitable format, that also can be used. There also, like CNN can be used for finding the pattern. So we'll take later on, we'll take one example where we will have a data in place of the image, and how we can search, apply the convolutional neural network that will automatically learn about the pattern in that data. So whole thing is related to, if that contain the pattern to match, then it can be used for CNN for classification. Okay, so that is very important to know about the feature engineering. Okay, so we all know like deep learning guru, that is Andrew Ng, come up like the feature, coming up with a feature is difficult, time consuming, and required the expert knowledge. So all the things are if we are extracting the features that are handcrafted. Okay, so that we can say like if you are manually deciding which particular features will be important. Okay, so that is basically applying the machine learning or the feature engineering. So that we can say the traditional data scientist or analysis used to create the feature using the manual process, and that is known as the handcrafted feature engineering. Okay, so basic drawbacks of those kind of handcrafted feature engineering are, first thing, it is tedious, because if we can say like if we are applying the modeling for image processing, then we are having like more than 50,000 of image, or we are training our models with more than 10,000 or 50,000 or 1 lakh of images. Okay, so maybe I can say like not tedious, it is not possible to apply the feature engineering for that much large data. Okay, because we cannot say like for whole data that particular feature will be applicable. Okay, and another thing is it's solely depend upon the expertise of the person who is applying that feature engineering, who is doing that feature engineering. Okay, so it is oftenly influenced by the human bias. Okay, so these are the two basic drawback of using the feature engineering. That is, it is very tedious if the data is very large, and oftenly it is influenced by the human bias. Okay, so we have seen like from AlexNet in 2012 to like that has been applied on the digit classification challenge that has won a lot of awards. So CNN has seen a lot of success in the domain of the image-based data, or the data which can be where we can find a particular pattern. Okay, so that's why CNN has used for many data representation problems where we can find a pattern is present. Okay, So what are the advantages of CNN over ANN? I think maybe you have gone through it, but I will take some couple of minutes only. So it's basically used for reducing the parameter. So parameter reduction is the primary purpose of applying the CNN over NN. Okay. Second thing is it is shift or translation invariance. That means if a particular pattern is translated over the input image or input data, then CNN can find out the location. So, or it can perform some transformation over the data, then CNN can find out that pattern over the transformed data as well. Okay, so CNN is having the capacity or capability to shift or translation invariance data. Second thing, it is basically used for parameter reduction. Okay, so we can say, like, if we see the artificial neural network example for the input image of size 16 by 16. Okay, so here the data is 16 into 16. That means all the pixel value of that image. So obviously this image is a black and white image, so the data value will be 0 to 0 or 1. If this image is a grayscale image, then the data will be from 0 to 256. Okay, if 8-bit has been assigned for each pixel. So that has been passed. Each pixel value has been passed as an input, and then we have a single hidden layer, and output is to classify the data as per the character present into that picture. Okay, so how many parameters that we used in ANN basically for this kind of example? So we see like 16 into 16, that means input layer will have 256 number of nodes, and we are taking a single hidden layer with 100 neurons or 100 hidden units. Okay, so that means total number of connection between the input layer and the hidden layer will be 256 into 100. Okay, so that much number of connections will be there. So that much number of weights will be assigned to this interconnection between these layer. Okay, so 256 connections will be there, so a weight will be assigned to each connection, and then one bias for each node of the hidden layer. So that means 100 bias. Then this hidden layer is connected with the output layer, so there will be 100 into 26 total number of characters that we need to find out in the image. So that is 100 into 56 number of neurons for the connection between the hidden layer and the output layer, and 26 biased for the final output layer. So if we are solving this problem using artificial neural network with a single hidden layer of 100 unit, so total number of trainable parameter will be 28,236. Okay, so that becomes extremely large. So we are looking at a very small example where image size is 16 by 16 and hidden unit is 1 only with 100 nodes only. Okay, for such a small example, for real life example, input image size could be from 1700 to by 1400 and much larger than that as well. Okay, so for that much number of information or that much number of pixels, the size of the input layer will be increased, and so the size of the hidden layers and the hidden units will increase gradually. Okay, so that will make us artificial neural network too cumbersome or too large to train for a small example. Okay, so we can see in this example, the input layer is connected with 3 hidden units. Okay, so we can see like for a very medium size image as well, artificial neural network can explode the total number of parameters. Okay, so that was the first thing. That's why the convolution neural network comes into the consideration. Okay, so what are the advantages of convolution neural network? over the artificial neural networks, that for which we consider this over this ANN. Okay, so one thing is this: the basic information between an image, in an image, if you can say, is an edge. Okay, so if I say in this particular picture something is present and that object color is white itself, so background is white and foreground is also white, so then we can say we cannot find out that object in that picture because there is no discontinuity between the background and the foreground. Okay, so that we can say there is no discontinuity between the corresponding neighboring pixels, and that is known as the edge. Now if I draw some object using different colors, then easily we can find out there is an object. So why we are finding out there is an object in an image? Because of the discontinuity in the pixel colors. Okay, so this is the basic information that image possesses. If you can see around, and if you say like when we talk about the camouflage, so camouflage is basically merging with the background. So our soldiers or some of the people who want to hide with the background, they wear such kind of clothes that mix with the background. Okay, so if there is no discontinuity in the pixel values, then we say like there is no information present into the an image. So the information in the image is the discontinuity basically. Okay, first thing. Second thing is the standalone pixel. So if I put a dot, so that particular dot in an image processing is considered as a noise. Okay, so if you heard about a salt and pepper noise, okay, so salt and pepper noise is basically background is white and there are background is black and there are white spots, and those spots are not sharing any information with the surroundings, then we consider this is an error. Error because of sensor, error because of the data capturing, error because of something like, okay, so suppose you have some data related to some particular task and there are some zero values which could not occur, then you consider these zeros as a noise that can come. So we are not able to record those values. Okay, so the basic idea is if pixel is not sharing any information with its neighbors, then that will be considered as a noise. Okay, so basically if any information is there in the picture, then definitely that pixel will be sharing that information with its neighbors. Okay, so for example, if I say most of the people, if you have applied the image processing, you already talked about the Gaussian. Okay, so Gaussian is basically what, if you say the Gaussian distribution, so Gaussian distribution is natural distribution. Okay, so where you have the height at the middle and it goes down when we go away from the mean value. Okay, the same phenomena, the every image follow. What manner? We say like if I put a dot here, if I place, that means the center pixel is spreading some information, and that like if you just drop just put a drop on a surface, that drop will spread out. Okay, and the intensity of the drop will be maximum at the center and it will be reducing when we move towards the boundary of that drop. Okay, so that means whenever we are putting some we are looking at an image, the center pixel will have the maximum value and that information will be spread out across its neighboring pixels. Okay, so if you see like when we apply the Gaussian, center pixel contain the maximum value and it keeps reducing around its neighbors. Okay, if we go move towards more boundaries, the value will be reduced more. So simple Gaussian is when you are near to the center, value will be maximum. When you move towards the outer circle, value will keep reducing. So this is simple Gaussian phenomena. and that is applied to every image. And so that means every pixel is sharing some information with its neighbors. Okay, so if we can take some example, if you look at this image, and if I ask simple, how much information is required to see a blue bird in that image? Okay, so we can visualize there is a blue bird in that image, and if we reduce the size of that image by 10% and 20% or more, still we can recognize that blue bird in that image. So that means the information that is present into the original image is much larger that is required to solve that problem. So that means we can throw out 75% of the information and still we can recognize a bird in that image. Okay. Another example I can take. So basically, I usually work in the activity recognition using surveillance camera, activity recognition using drone camera and all. So in those activity recognition tasks, we require the location where the person is there. Okay. So how much location that person is capturing in that image? So right now we say like a person, we are working on a project where a person is something like 200 meter away from the camera. Okay, so 200 meter is too large. So we can say the person is only capturing less than 5% of the region of whole image. Okay, so do we require all the information that is present across that person? That do we require all the background information to recognize the activity performed by that person? Okay, so we always has to look after how much information we need to extract or we want to extract. Okay, so if we can take that example, if we can reduce the size of that image by 75%, I am simply reducing the size of the whole image. And if I can also argue that the background is containing more than 50% of the area, which is not required. Okay, so if we simply take one technique to reduce the size of the image by subsampling, and we have taken it to the 25%, that means 75% of the data I have removed. So that can be removed by subsampling. Subsampling means you can simply drop the alternate columns or rows. Okay, and still we can say we can recognize that image by 25% parameter. Okay, so in this particular example, very fewer parameters are required to characterize that image. Okay, so the features has been reduced to by 75%, still we can recognize the object into the image. Okay, let's take one more example where if we cut out the image. So this is another example of subsampling. So subsampling is simply to take the alternate columns and generate the new image. So 50% of data has been reduced, still we can recognize the object present into that image. Again, if we cut it horizontally, then now each image contains 25% of the data. Okay, and still we can say in each individual image, we can easily recognize the object present into this image. Okay, so that means it is not required every pixel value if data size is large enough. So we have to find out how much information that is required and how much information that is shared among the pixels that we should record or we should keep in consideration. Okay, so simple CNN is the advantages of CNN over ANN. So ANN suffer the curse of the dimensionality. Curse of the dimensionality means whenever the size of the input data will increase, the size of the artificial neural network will also increase exponentially. Okay, so the dimensionality, the dimension of the size of the weights and biases, that is parameters, the trainable parameters that are responsible for extracting the features will be very high. Okay. And second thing is ANN does not consider the local shared features. Okay. So that means that pixels are sharing some information. So that has been not considered by ANN. Okay. So the advantages of CNN over ANN are parameter sharing and the sparsity of the connection. It reduced the dimensionality of the parameters that has been recorded. Okay, so here like you have gone through the CNN for image processing. I have taken one example where we can apply the CNN for some of the time domain data. Okay, so suppose we can say a data of the customers who are spending the money. So we take the record of the money that has been spent month wise. Okay, so we can say the M1, M2, M3. So this is the monthly expenditure of a customer, and then customer can have a credit card or the debit card. So there are different features that we can consider. So there is a uniform time domain data that we can generate. Okay, and that data of each customers can be passed for CNN. Okay, then CNN will be find out the pattern that I have mentioned earlier. If there is some pattern in that data, the expenditure data of the customers, and through that pattern, if we can find out if customer is reliable or customer is not reliable, or customer is liable for the loan or customer is not liable for the day loan. So whole thing is depend upon if there is some pattern present. So pattern in the expenditure of the customer. Okay, so first thing is to arrange the data. Okay, so here we can see if 4 customers are there, the depth of the data will be 4, C1, C2, C3, C4, and the size of the data will depend upon the number of columns, that is the months, and number of rows, that are the different expenditures like the credit card or debit card or loans data if we are considering. So apart from the image, the data as well we can apply the convolution neural network. Okay, another example. So this is like we pass that data and then we apply the weights. So number of channels we apply, so k number of weights we apply, and then we extract the features. So the task of those weights, the task of the convolution to extract the features, and on the basis of those features we do the classification by using the loss function. Okay, so these features has been passed as an intermediate layer, and final optimization has been done on the final layer. Okay, so that thing I think you have already covered. So in this convolution neural network, feature extraction means training the CNN. Okay, so we'll go through it quickly. So you'll understand like how the convolution neural network do the training and it extract the features. Extracting features means if I consider talk about the CNN, it's basically the patterns present into the data. Okay, so objective of training the network is to identify the correct weights of the connections between the 2 layers. Okay, and those connections are assigned some weights and optimal weight values. That means this is the training task. Okay, and while optimizing the weight value, our final objective is to minimize the loss. And in that particular case, if we say classification, the loss function will be the binary cross entropy. Okay, so that you have gone through what is the convolution operation. So that is dot by product, sum of the product across a particular filter, and filter could be of size 3 by 3, 5 by 5, 7 by 7, or anything. Okay, so if you understand, this is like intuition behind the filter, what actually filter is does. So if I am applying, if I like, maybe you have gone through this. So if I apply this particular filter, the task of this filter is to detect the vertical edges present into this original image. Okay, so this is the original image, where we can see the higher values are represented by the bright color and low values are represented by the dark color. Okay, so if we apply this particular filter, the task of this filter will be to extract the vertical edges. So you can see here response is high. In this particular region, the response is high, that is 30. So that means an edge is present at this region. Okay. So now it has been reduced the number of parameters from the ANN, that is significantly reduced. So that is the intuition. Different filters can be used to extract the different information from the image. This filter can be used to extract the horizontal information. This filter, that is known as the well-known edge detection, a Sobel edge detector, or we can have the Kenny edge detector or the SOAR filter. So task of the filter is to extract the information from the image. Okay. So now when we come to the CNN, we do not assign the values to those filters. Okay. The task of the training CNN is to find out the optimal value of weights that can find out the information present into the filters. Okay. So convolution neural network automatically estimates the weights of the filter. Okay. So that's why we use the multiple filters, so that we can extract the multiple information from that input image. Okay. So each filter is responsible for different kind of information. So that's why it is the task of the CNN to assign the weights, different weights to different filters, to extract the different kind of information. Okay. So here we have seen, like if the depth of this image, that is 3, so that means the depth of the filter will also be equal to 3. So those two things will be equal. And then, so here we are applying 2 filters. Okay, this is filter 1, this is second filter. So 2 filter will generate the 2 responses. So this is response 1, this is response 2, the output of the convolution operation over that input image. Okay, so if there are 3 channels, suppose we are considering the color image, so there will be red, green and blue channels. So the filters will be, for each filter there will be 3 channels will be there. Okay, so that you have gone through. So this is a simple CNN architecture. I think you have already gone through. You have gone through the VGG16. So you must have known the convolution is the combination of the pooling and padding. Okay. So whole thing is depend upon how many filters you are using at particular layer. So those filters will be responsible for detecting the task. Okay. So this is very famous, well-known AlexNet that's come in 2012, and till date it is having more than 48,000 citations. I have not checked like last month's before. So till that time it was 49,000 citations. Okay, so we can understand like how much famous it is and how many people are applying this AlexNet and variation of that AlexNet. Okay. So all the information I think you have all gone through, and if just let me know, should I cover it or we should come move forward to this? Anyone can say if you understand this, what this is doing, what this 11 by 11, how it is reducing the size of this to 15 by 15. If you understand this, then we can move on.
Participants are writing like that.
Okay, so I was just like, I was waiting for the response. So how AlexNet works? So if you can say here, the AlexNet, the input image size is, input images are color images. So that means there will be 3 channels, red, green and blue. So where we have 3, and the size of the input image that has been considered as 227 by 227. So each channel is having 227 by 227. Now in this, first is the convolution layer. Okay, so you can say like in every convolution neural network, there is a convolution layer, pooling layer, and dense layer. So here we have convolution layer, this is pooling layer, then this is convolution layer, this is pooling layer, and so on. So there we have convolution, pooling, convolution, and pooling, and these are the dense layer. Okay, so in first convolution layer, we are applying filter of size 11 by 11. Okay, so what does that mean by the filter of size 11 by 11? So here an output is 55 by 55 by 96. So how we are getting this? Okay, first thing, so if you are having an image, let me just make some space here. If you guys like, this is very important thing, if you understand this, if you have an image of 227 by 227, okay, single image, and I am applying a filter of size 11 by 11, okay, so then I will get the output response of size 55 by 55. Okay, so that is simply by applying the convolution, you use the uh, reduction technique, parameter reduction. So here also we are reducing the size of the input image from 227 by 227 to 55 by 55. That you must know, by applying the convolution, the size of the image reduce. If you do not want to reduce the output size, you want to keep the output size same as the input size, then you should apply the padding, and for that we use the parameter that is same. Okay, so one thing is there, so we apply the convolution of filter 11 by 11 over the image 27 by 227 by 227, and we get the response of 55 by 55. Now one thing, another thing is how many filters we are applying. So 96 such filters we are applying. So 96 such filter when we apply, we will get 96 responses. Okay, so just see, if you are getting 96 responses, that means 96 filters, each of size 11 by 11 you have applied. First thing. Now the number of channels in the image are 3. Okay, so here also the size of the filter will be 11 by 11 into 3. Okay, so now if you understand, what will be the size of the total filter in this first convolution example? So size of one filter will be 11 by 11 into 3, and we are applying 96 such filter in this first convolution layer. Clear? One filter size is 11 by 11 by 3. We are applying 96 such filters, so you get this. Okay, so there will be this much total number of weights, and each filter will have one bias, so plus 96 bias. Okay, so that much total number of parameters will be used in AlexNet first convolution layer. Then we apply the max pool. So max pool simply reduce the size of the image, but it does not change the depth. So 96 will be there, but we apply the pooling of 3. Now there is another concept of stride, that is I am not discussing. I'm just discussing like how it reduce the size or increase. You can control the size of the features that you want to generate during the intermediate convolution layer. So whole thing is depend upon how many filters you are using. So first layer you are using 96 filters. So those 96 filters will be responsible for extracting these number of patterns or these number of different information. Okay, so this is first layer, which consists convolution and pooling. Okay, in second layer here And second, convolution and pooling layer, we are applying filter of size 5 by 5. And how many such filters we are applying? 256 such filters we are applying. Okay. So just if I say what will be the size of the filter in that particular layer. So see, the size of the image is 227 by 27 into 96. Okay, this is the image. Now if I say I want to apply a filter of size 5 by 5 over that image. Okay, so what will be the depth of that filter? So the depth of one filter will be 96. Right. So these 96, so 5 into 5 into 96, this is one filter. And how many such filters we are applying? The output is 256. The number of responses are 256. That means we are applying 256 such filters. So 5 into 5 into 96, one filter. And how many such filter? 256 such filters we are applying. So these are the weight values of those filters, if you understand. Okay, so this is the whole concept of extracting the features using CNN by applying different filters. So if you understand like at what particular layer, what kind of filters you want to extract, or what kind of like information you want to extract, then you can decide how many filters will be enough, or how many filters should be applied at particular layer. Okay, so here, and then they have applied 384 filters in third layer and 256 filters in fourth layer. Okay. So the whole thing is feature extraction using CNN. So basically, for any particular task to solve a problem, what we can do, we can apply the CNN. If you can see this example, you are extracting the features. These values are considered as the features. Okay, so here you extract the features using CNN and pass those features to ANN. Okay, similarly, CNN can be used for extracting the features in any application. Okay, so what we can do, we can apply a pre-trained model, okay, and remove the last layer. That means sigmoid or logistic layer. So sigmoid layer is for binary classification, logistic layer is for multi-class classification. Or logistic for binary classification, sigmoid for multi-class classification. Okay, so logistic. Okay, then you can use any new data of similar business problem to calculate the features. Okay, so you can have a CNN model, okay, and just remove the last layer. Okay, so at the end you will get some features. So you can take a pre-trained model of similar application and remove the last layer of that pre-trained model, and the basis of the requirement, number of features, that extracted features can be passed to any dense layer or any classification machine learning algorithm like SVM. So we will see in the fast YOLO itself, we have passed these features computed using the CNN to the support vector machine for classification. Okay, so this is the whole concept where we pass the information to the CNN and CNN compute the features. So there are, we take two techniques. One is the pre-processing, where we are using the image segmentation using any image processing technique, and then that segmented image has been passed to CNN. So CNN computed the features from that segmented image, and once the CNN will compute those features, then those features will be passed to any classifier. It could be your dense layer, that means ANN classifier, or it could be any machine learning classifier. So here you can see like SVM classifier has been used, and that SVM classifier then classify the data to different classes. So in this class we have if car is present or not. So CNN can be used for that as a classifier. Okay, so the task of the SVM is used for the classifier. The task of the CNN is to generate the features, and feature in an image can be a pattern. Okay, so let's discuss what actually CNN is extracting. What features, when we say the features, what information CNN is extracting. So we have seen the AlexNet. So earlier it was like considered as the black box. The people say like we don't know what is happening in the intermediate layer. But 2015 comes the visualization of the layer. So the concept. So once that start, how we can visualize those intermediate weight values and the activation values. Okay, if you can say the connection between the layers are assigned the weights. So if we can visualize what those weight values are actually learning, and when we apply the activation function over these units, what those activation functions are learning. Okay, so if you can see the activation of first convolution layer in the AlexNet. Okay, so the information there is very broad. We cannot find out any particular, like you can see in this particular image, this is considering the whole image. Okay, so the cat has been described. In this particular you cannot find. So in initial layers the information is not that much concentrated, not that much localized. But when we move towards further layer, each activation function has some of the high, and for particular reason it is showing bright values, that means high values. Okay, so that means every activation, every neuron, set of neuron is responsible for particular kind of information. Okay, maybe we can say this is high if it recognize the eyes, if it is high if it excuse me, the particular kind of structure. So when we move towards the higher layer, the information become very localized. Okay, so it is responsible for particular small segment of information. Okay, so if you can see now this was the, there are two visualization. One is to visualize the activation, another is to visualize the weight values. Okay, so when the system start learning from layer 1 to layer n, these learning become very crucial or very localized. Okay, so if you see the weights of the initial layer, first layer of AlexNet, so these are responsible for simple pattern, the vertical lines, horizontal lines, slanted line. Some of the weights are responsible for detecting particular color. Some of the weights are responsible for detecting particular strokes or particular edges, or that means vertical edges or horizontal edges specifically. Okay, but when we move towards the weight of the second convolution layer, so there we have increased the number of filters. So that means the number of weight has been increased, obviously. Okay, if you remember the AlexNet. So the number of weights, so here we will see specific weights will be activated for specific information. Okay, But in the initial layer, all the weights can be activated, all the weights responsible for different information. Okay, so we'll see one video which is given by the Jason and the team, how we can visualize the activation function in the weight values and how we can interpret the information that can be extracted from that. Okay.
Recent advances in neural networks have enabled computers to better see and understand the world.
Let me know if you can, can you hear the voice? Sorry.
Recent advances in neural networks have enabled computers to better see and understand the world. They can recognize school buses and zebras, and can tell the difference between Maltese terriers and Yorkshire terriers. We now know what it takes to train these neural networks well, but we don't know so much about how they're actually computing their final answers. We developed this interactive deep visualization toolbox to shine light into these black boxes, showing what happens inside of neural nets. In the top left corner, we show the input to the network.
So you can see like these are the first convolution network. So where the outlines are there, if a person is moving, these particular weight values are responsible for the outlines. These particular weight values are responsible for the dark region, the hairs and the t-shirt. If you move a seat, this particular neuron is responsible for detecting the edges. Okay, particular neuron is detecting for edges. Now you can see these neurons, these are the weight values. Those weight values responsible for different color information. Okay. Then you come to the pooling layer. So this is the output of the pooling layer. What is the response of the pooling? If you reach to the third convolution layer, or fourth convolution layer, you can check here, the information become very specific. Each node start recognizing very specific information. Okay, each node is responsible for facial data. This node is detecting the face. This particular node is detecting the face. Okay, so there are some, now we can like find out which node is detecting what information, or which particular combination of weight or layered weight is detecting what information. Okay, and we can find out if some of the weights are not participating. Let's see this particular node. Now this is the convolution of fourth layer. So you can say like the color values are very high for this reason. These are for eyes, detecting eyes. Okay, let me rub out this. So each set of neurons, each set of weights and activation function, now they are not random. They are recording specific information. Okay, you can see a particular neuron is recording. So this, if you say like face is there, this neuron is responsible. Okay, these set of neurons are responsible. So these neurons are not, or these weights are not responding. Okay, now let's check for other like text. So if you want to check which set of neurons are detecting the text, so these are high for text only. Okay, horizontal text is there, different neuron will respond. If vertical text is there, different filter will respond. Okay, for eyes, different filter will respond. For lips and other information, other filter will respond. So this is actual beauty.
Thanks for listening, and we look forward to seeing what you discover.
Okay, if you got the idea, we have taken the filters, 96 filter in first layer, something 256 filter in second layer, 385 filters at third layer, and now we have experienced that each filter is responsible for particular information, and this whole process has been done automatically. That means we have not initialized the weights. All the weights were initialized randomly. During the training, AlexNet model itself learned those weights. So automatically it learned the weights in such a manner that each filter will be extracting a particular information. Okay, so that is the beauty of the deep learning, where system is recording the information which is required, and we are not interfering in that thing. Automatically it is recording that information. Okay, and automatically it is finding the location of the region that is maximally activating a neuron. So if there are some images, and the white boxes in those images are representing the region for which the maximum neurons were activated. So that means the model is recognizing that part of the image as an information. Okay, so if you can see a baby is there, so a region which is containing the face, in most of the cases, region which containing the face of the dog or face of the person, the model is considering that part of the image that is containing maximum information, and that's why the maximum neurons are activated for that reason. Okay, so this is the images of the data set where the fifth layer neuron of AlexNet were maximally activated. Okay, so automatically system is recognizing the information that is presenting to the image. Another important aspect of CNN that we can find out where the model is emphasizing and model is searching for the information. Okay, so suppose so that has been a long discussion how they have done this. So basically what they have done, for this particular image, they learn the model by putting a box at particular region. Okay, so suppose we hide this information and then we see if the neurons, how many neurons are firing. Okay, so for this particular image, when the box is placed at this region, the face region, if we hide this region, we get the very low response. Very low response means the model is considering this image does not consider containing much information if we hide this face region. If you remove this, so it removes, red means the high values, blue means the low values. Okay, so if you are hiding this information, still it is, most of the neurons are activated. If it is hiding this information, still many neurons are activated, that's why it is red. Okay, but if you hide this facial region, the neurons are not getting activated. Why not getting activated? Suppose there is no information, the neurons will not get activated. Okay, similarly, if you are running a model for car wheel detection, second, this is for car wheel detection, and if you placed a box at that position, the model is not get activated. That means model is correctly looking for the wheels in the image, right? If you say this is for Afghan hound, that is the dog, the train model is for Afghan hound, and this region is returning blue value. That means if you hide the face of the dog, that model will not give the high values. Okay, so now we can find out which particular reason our model is looking for. Okay, so why this is important? So suppose you have designed a CNN model for particular task and you trained it. Okay, and after the training, during the testing, the result is very low. Okay, so during the training result is very high, but during the testing result is very low. So you cannot find out what wrong is going on inside that model. Now you can visualize if model is looking for a particular information or not. Okay, so I will give you an example. The US Army just design a model to find out the enemy tank. Okay, to find out the enemy tank from the images. Okay, so they have trained the model using their own tank. So there were images belongs to their tank and the images of their enemy tank. Okay, two set of images they were having. Okay, so when they trained the model, their accuracy was pretty good. But when they in the real time they run that model, their accuracy reduce very largely. Okay, their accuracy was very low. So what then they try to find out what this model, by occluding part, what this model, what kind of features that CNN model has been extracting. So actually the problem was that the images that they have on their own tank, they were in the bright light, very daylight. Okay, and all the images that were belongs to their enemy tank, they were on the dark light or the night, taken during the night. Okay, so what happened, rather than recognizing rather than focusing on the tank, their models were focusing on the brightness or the darkness of the image. So if the image is dark, they consider it is an enemy tank image. If the image is bright, it considered as the friend image, friendly tank image. Okay, so now the more emphasis is to find out if your model is correctly doing the feature extraction or not. Okay, so that is the whole process where feature extraction has been done properly or not, that can be visualized by visualizing the weights and activation function of the CNN. Okay, so that was the whole concept. So now we can have like some more examples where if you see the 2D convolution, we can see like we apply the filter over the images on different patches, and there is a concept of the kernel or the filter, stride and padding. That is simple 2D convolution. Another concept, if the image size is very large, if you know the resolution of image is very large and it is not required to apply the filter over all the pixels, so what you can do, if you heard the dilation process in image processing. So dilation means spreading out the area. So here also we spread out the area of the filter. So we apply the filter over the dilated region. Okay, so that is important if you are applying the CNN or convolution for real-time applications, because in the real-time applications you want to apply the filter very fastly. So you cannot apply the filter on each and every pixel. So you spread out the area of the filter. So now by using the filter of size 3x3, you are covering the view of the 5x5, the same view that 5x5 kernel will be covered. Okay, so that is another convolution that can be used for feature extraction where the image size or the real-time segmentation is required. Okay, so that means now you have larger receptive fields with same computation. Okay, now another method of this is transposed convolution. So where you apply the convolution, okay, a regular convolution, but revert is spatial transformation. That means you revert the values that are response that it is generating. Okay, so this is an example of a transpose convolution. So I think we need not to discuss this. Then another important convolution operation that people are applying these days for the time series data. Okay, so if time series data is there, so time series data means the data has been generated across the time domain and it is having some relation over the time domain as well. So earlier we were seeing in 2D convolution, the data has been shared between the space only. Now in 3D, data is also related in time domain. Okay, so both of the things has been considered here. When we consider 3D, the time and space. So if we talk about space, it is 2D. When we talk about time, it is 3D. So example of this is video analysis. So in the video analysis, you have number of frames and the person is moved across the frames. So there is some relation between the frames. Okay, so how to find those relation in between those frames? That is done using the 3D. So we have a stack of images and similarly we have a 3D filter that is applied. So now the 3D filter will be responsible for computing the information, for recognizing the information that has been spread across the depth of the filter. Okay. So this is an example where we have the video as an input. So what you can do, because it increase the size of the model very much. Suppose you are considering a video, so a single 1 second video can have 30 frames. Okay, and if you considering the 2 second of information that is required, right, to show the action recognition. Okay, so there is a significant difference between the pose and the action. So pose, that means that can be recorded using single image only, but action is required, that is like the moving like continuous changing activity is there. So that is known as the action. So whenever we talk about the action recognition, we require a sequence of frames from a video. So if you are considering a 2 second frame only, 2 second information only, that means you will be having 60 frames. Okay, so 60 frames you will be uploading for training part in the model every time. Okay, then you apply the different filters for that set of frames. So different filters, so there are different layers where we have applied different filters. Okay, so each layer, so these filters will be 3D filters. So we will be applying 3D convolution. So 3D convolution will be recording the space as well as depth wise information. Okay, the spatial domain information and the temporal domain information. Okay, so that is the concept of the spatial and spatial now. So now, like, I would like to come to that part where CNN has been done for the feature extraction, and later on the different machine learning classifier has been used over those features. So if you heard about the RCNN, fast RCNN and faster RCNN, okay, there were from 2014 to 2016, 3 papers has been come by the same author for object detection classification. Okay, and it was very like a famous one. So I will just give you the idea of the RCNN. So basically in the RCNN, we use the CNN for feature extraction. Okay, so what it was doing, we provide the input image. In the input image, we generate some reason. Okay, so 2000 reason proposals is being generated. Reason proposals means the reason where the information can be. Okay, so in the image processing, you can look at like this, how to find a reason. So suppose you have some diagrams. Okay, and I will simply apply the flood fill. I will take it very basic. Although the flood fill has not been applied, it is a selective search that he applied. But if I take an example for simple intuition, how it works. So if I apply the flood fill and find out the reason which is connected. Okay, so I will find out two connected reasons in that image. And then I will pass that information, that two reason information to the layer. Okay, so similarly, using the selective search technique, we extract 2000 reason proposal from the image. Okay, then we resize all those reason proposals and pass those reason proposals to CNN. And then CNN will apply the filters, and while after applying the filters, CNN will generate the features. Right? So once the CNN will generate the feature, then we apply the machine learning or classifier. Here we are applying the SVM classifier. So RCNN was applying the SVM classifier for classification of different classes of object. Okay, so this is the whole concept where recently, like in 2015 only, CNN has been used for feature extraction. Okay, and the classification task has been done by the machine learning classifier, that is SVM classifier. Okay, so that has been done, and then we finally do the bounding box. So this is the whole picture of the RCNN. Okay, so first we take the reason proposal. We pass those reason proposal to CNN. CNN extract the features. Extracting the features, guys, means the activated values at the end of the pooling layer, after the pooling layer. And those features has been passed to the classifier. So here SVM classifier has been used. So very basic techniques that has been used, but the output or result of that RCNN was very good. Okay, so if we can just extract the points that has been come out from the CNN. So it was slow. So the reason was why it was slow. So you have to train the CNN. Okay, and first you have to extract the reason. So extracting the 2000 reason was taking time, reason proposal. Then you pass it to CNN. So CNN module is also taking time. Then you have to train the SVM as well. SVM is a classifier that need to be trained for particular classes. So there were three major tasks, okay, that required to calculate the feature map and do the classification. Okay, so we were applying the CNN for all the 2000 reason individually. So that means we were applying the 2000 times CNN for each proposal. Okay, then each proposal has been passed to SVM. Okay, now we know that SVM can be used for two classes. So suppose there are 2000 classes, so 2000 SVM classifier will be required for each proposal. Okay, so that means 2000 features that will be reasons. Then for those 2000 reasons, CNN will compute some features, and for each features we have to apply the SVM 2000 times. So it was very slow. It is hard to train, because we need to train the CNN, SVM, and the bounding box regressor is there. We have to map the bounding box over the image as well. So 3 different modules we have to train. That makes the training very difficult. Okay. One more thing that we required, the large memory. So we are passing 2000 reason proposal into the memory for single image. So that's why it was required a lot of memory as well. Okay, so that's why fast RCNN came. Okay, so I will not cover the fast RCNN and faster RCNN in this session, but my actual intention was to give you like intuition how convolution can be used as a feature extractor. Okay, so in this particular example of object classifier, which is very famous, RCNN, the reason proposal has been done as, a pre-processing. Here we have done the pre-processing. Then convolution CNN has been applied for feature extraction, and the classification has been done using machine learning classifier, that is SVM. Okay, so before CNN there was pre-processing, after CNN there was classification. CNN was only used for feature extraction. So you can also use CNN for feature extraction of any particular task. Similarly, you have heard about the YOLO. So if you see the YOLO as well, you apply the CNN and then you get the features using CNN. Okay, so there are different cells. So you get the features using the CNN, and the size of those features are 7 by 7 into 30. Okay, so and by the use of those features, then we apply the classifier. Okay, so YOLO as well use the CNN as feature extraction technique. RCNN has also used CNN as feature extraction technique. So we can see like very famous models are using CNN only for feature extraction. So that means CNN is very, very effective in finding the pattern from the data where there is a possibility of the shareable information like the image or any data which can show the patterns into the data. Okay, so that's why it is very effectively like applied in those kind of application. Okay, so here I will stop like this session and then we'll come to the lab. And before that, if you have any question, then I will welcome I will like to answer all those questions if you have any. So because we have like less than 14 minutes, only 13 minutes are remaining. So I will show you like how we can visualize the features, how we can visualize the weight values and the activation values that can be like that has been extracted using the CNN. So before that, if any questions are there, I will stop for those. Okay, okay, so okay, I just checked the comments. Okay, I was not checking the comments, so just let me. Okay, so please, I will share the link in the comments, so directly you can copy paste. Yeah, can you see my screen? Okay, so like I think you have done this CNN part all the while, but I will simply take you to the okay. is part 2. First part is to have a mobile convolution neural network, and second part is that is we apply the mobile net that can be used for the devices, low processing devices. Okay, and here we have we can see how the CNN has extracted the features. Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Now it's okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. So like I'm just think like previous first part that you have, I think you have already done, that is CNN part. So you already know how those parameters comes, that I have explained in AlexNet as well, why those parameters comes as 12,000 and all. I just have to show you. I have just if it is coming error, then check. Yes. Oh god. Okay. Okay. We need to upload an image here. Otherwise, it will show the error. I have to show you. Okay. So there is a digit.jpg image is there that we need to upload. So I will take one image from. Yeah. Okay. We can show, I think, yes. And okay. Oh god. Okay, I think I have missed some of the points, and let me know if the errors are coming in your case as well. But still here, my purpose is to show you the example where I have shown like the activation function and the weight values and how they have learned all these things. Okay. So, okay, guys, so I think I need to work on this. So definitely like I will just rectify all those things and then I will share the code with you. Okay. And that code will be working definitely. So I am extremely sorry for that. So if you want to ask anything, any questions are there, we can discuss.
Yeah, actually, I have one query, sir.
Yeah, please.
Is there any advantage of using ANN over CNN?
So ANN, it's like if there are no pattern in the data, I think like ANN extract all the combinations, all the pixels. Okay. So if pattern is there, definitely CNN will be working, but no. Means small data is there, then you can apply the ANN. Data size is not that much large. Okay, because the CNN will be extracting the pattern. If the data size is not large, then simply you can apply the ANN. Otherwise, there will be no.
So I extend my sincere thanks to Tapash Badal sir. for taking this technical session on image feature extraction. It was indeed a wonderful session because we have learned how to extract features from intermediate layers also. The code will also be shared with you. So I am very thankful to you, sir.
Yeah, sure. I will share the code and rectified it and share it. Okay.
Right.
Thank
So
thank you,
now,
everyone. Yeah.
thank you, Tapas sir. So in this way, now we are closing day 4, session 3 also. And tomorrow will be an exciting day. Tomorrow we are going to learn about, the first thing is about those who are interested in medical imaging, medical applications. So we are going to learn deep learning for medical applications. It will be done by Dr. Kuldeep Singh, Assistant Professor, MNIT Jaipur. He has been working a lot in this medical field, so he will show how can we do that work. And then the next 2 sessions are from IISc Bangalore, and we are going to learn about new concept of image processing, that is image reconstruction using deep learning. So Dr. Manish Bhatt is going to take this session on image reconstruction using deep learning and implementation also of image segmentation using deep learning. So that what will be covered tomorrow in the day 5th of short-term training program. So I expect the same participation tomorrow, and hopefully more number of participants will join and will complete day 5 in this way. Thank you very much for participation today, and attendance being monitored regularly of every session. We will share that also. I have been sharing all study material, so today's study material will also be shared with you over your mail. And thank you very much for your participation. Be connected. You can leave now.